What's up, YouTube? Secondhand Shouty back here with another video. And today's video, we have something a little different. It's gonna be story time. What should we call it? Story time with Shouty? Secondhand stories? Today's secondhand stories is gonna be about my first pair of J's. I wasn't one of those people who, I definitely loved shoes my entire life, but I definitely wasn't one of those people who always had them for a long time. Shoot, I really hadn't even gotten into shoes, into sneakers for real, where I was like compass sneakers, until maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. As a kid, you know, I grew up in the Michael Jordan age, so we definitely loved the Jordans, even if we didn't have them, but we wanted them. And so I was one of those kids. So I grew up in I had a single mother, and she had me and my sister, and we, I think I was a pretty good kid, and I really didn't ask my mom for a lot. Like, she definitely provided everything. She had a decent job. And so she definitely provided like games and stuff. And like, I had all the games I wanted. You know, we definitely had clothes, and, you know, the lights and stuff always stayed on. You know, it wasn't like struggle like that. I never really asked for the hype-ish shoes, because there was definitely shoe hype back then. Jordans, of course, was the king of shoes, the king of basketball, the king of everything back then. I never really knew what Jordans cost. I figured it cost about $100. As a kid, $100 for some shoes, like, that wasn't something that I could even bring myself to ask my mom for. Fast forward, the year's 1995. Bone Thugs and Harmony were the kings of rap. That was my favorite rap group. And of course, Jordan was the king of basketball. He was the king of shoes. He was the king of everything. It's 1995, I'm in middle school. I'm actually in 8th grade. Jordan just came back to the NBA, and I finally damn, I want some Jordans, because I like girls at this time. I'm caring about what I'm dressing like. I wanted my shoes to be clean. And so I'm like, Dad, well, I didn't ask my mom, I asked my dad. I said, Dad, I want some Jordans. And he's like, all right, I got you. School starts, right? My father did not come through. He did not give me the shoes I wanted. He didn't give me anything. I'm like, man, whatever, you know. So I got some, you know, some whatever kind of Nikes. There was probably some kind of like Air Max of some sort. And which Air Max were cool, but, you know, they wasn't Jordans. And so Jordans didn't have numbers back then. Like, at least I didn't remember there being any numbers. But man, school started, and there was definitely a hero shoe that came out. And this was the shoe. And I remember seeing this one new kid named Clarence. Clarence just came to our school, and Clarence popped up, and he was getting all the chicks because he had these. This is the shoe that Clarence came rocking on the first day of school in middle school in the 8th grade. And so imagine, like, damn, those are the new J's. This kid has the new Jordans. I remember just like time froze when I saw Clarence with those shoes. And it's like, man, like, I remember it was just about the patent leather was the big deal about it. And I remember just seeing it like, man, those are clean. So Clarence walks in just looking hella clean with these Jordans. And so I'm like, man, I like girls. I want to get some chicks. Clarence getting all the chicks, all the little 8th grade chicks that he wants. You know, he's a new guy. He got the new J's. His box was curly. You know, he was the man. And so I'm like, I got to get these shoes. So I go back to my dad like, Dad, I need these shoes. I need the Jordans. And he's like, okay. And so, like, I'm thinking, like, I never really called in for any favors, like, so why not? I should be able to ask for the Jordans. So my dad goes to this place, No Contest, and it's a shoe store that was here, and I guess they were closing, and so they had like a clearance sale going on, right? And so he comes back, he's like, guess what? I got you the Jordans. I'm like, cool. And he brings them over, and I open the box. Actually, I don't even think there was a box, because I think he got these shoes out of clearance. And he says, all right, I got your Jordans. And so I'm thinking, oh my God, it's gonna be the Concords. It's gonna be like, well, not the Concords, it's gonna be the new Jordans. And it wasn't the new Jordans because, well, let's just say it wasn't the new Jordans. He popped up and this is what he had. So I know what you're thinking. Bro, those are bread ones. Those are like those are Jordans. That's what everybody wants, right? I gotta remind y'all though, this is 1995. 95, retros wasn't cool then. So he shows up with these old ass shoes, and I'm wanting these, but he shows up with these. Now, there's a difference here. There's a decade's worth of difference in these two shoes. And in 1995, as a 13-year-old, that's not gonna fly. These were not cool. These were. This is what people wanted. These were busted old. These were Converse. Converse were cool, but nobody wanted no old basketball shoes like this. This was not a cool silhouette in 95, not for a 13-year-old in middle school. I called my friend Lloyd over, and I'm like, Lloyd, my father got me some Jordans, but he got me these. And my friend Lloyd, I mean, he's kind of a jokester, and I felt like he was just trying to gas me up, because he was like, man, those are tight, those are dope. You should wear those. I would wear those to school. And I felt like he was just trying to get me to wear them just so I could get laughed at. You know, I get joned on about having, that's what we called it, joning, talking about somebody. You know, I felt like they were going to talk about me because I showed up in these things, these old rust bucket shoes. And so he hyped me up. He talked me into it, and he talked me into wearing these shoes to school. And I remember like walking down the street and just getting really nervous about walking into the school wearing these. These old Jordans, they got a Nike check on it. They don't even got the Air Jordan. They got this wing on here. This thing, like, that's not Jordan. This is Jordan. This is what we want to see. We want to see this dude jumping, doing splits, dunking the ball. That's what Jordans are. That ain't Jordan. So, like, I recognized it as being like the old school look, but it wasn't, again, that wasn't cool for us. I'm like, I didn't even know Jordans looked like this back then. I'm like, damn, these are the first ones? And so we get to the school, and I remember just not, like, I feel like if I could hide just my shoes, that's what I was trying to do all day. And I don't feel like anybody ever said anything. Nobody ever mentioned anything about the shoes. And I'd never worn them again, because there was these old shoes. And I remember like being mad at my dad for giving me these old shoes, and he was about to embarrass me. And so, I mean, like, I went home crying, and I told my mom, like, he gave me these old rust bucket, beat up, ugly, I mean, these brand new dead stock, you know, Jordan 1s. And I'm like, he got me these shoes, and, you know, the new Jordans was out. I should have got these. And so so my mom ended up telling me she heard about this thing where these kids in China were buying up all the old Jordans. And so she took me to this hotel where they had this convention and there was just this room full of shoes. I brought these up, worn maybe once or twice. I don't even think I wore them twice, but worn once, brand spanking new, look way better than this one does. And I sold them to those people for like $75. So 13-year-old gets $75. That's a come up. For these old Jordans, why would they want them in China? So yeah, I got rid of them. Also, I got rid of some Levi's because they wanted red tagged Levi's or something. And yeah, I was $75 richer. I probably bought like a Genesis game or something. Who knows? But so yeah, that was, it was an interesting story. And for me, I mean, that was my first Jordan. And after that, I didn't get any more until just 3 years ago, until I was a grown man. You know, it took me a whole another 20 years before I got my next pair of Jordans. And so, man, I wish I still had those now, obviously, because now these became one of my grails. This is one of my, this is a proper secondhand shoe. I got this from Reset STL, and you know, it's an important shoe for me, and I'm just so happy that I was able to get it and bring the story full circle. Because I mean, I had it, I didn't know what I had. Lloyd was right, so shout out to Lloyd for being right about the shoes. I still kind of rather have the Concords, but you know, but the ones were dope, but they wasn't then. You know, our pants, jeans were baggier. It just didn't work in 1995. So so that was my secondhand story about my first J's. So you know, Concords ones. Why would you have been? I mean, honestly, in 1995, would y'all been happy with these when Cats was walking around with these? Tell me in the comments. Please comment, like, dislike, whatever you want to do the video. Subscribe, please. Notifications, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. I'm still getting started. I can't wait to, you know, years from now to look back on these videos and be like, man, look at where you came from. Thanks for watching. Be good. Peace.